I am going to talk to you about scanning chart lists and setting alerts. And, you know, I talk scanning all the time. And honestly, scanning a chart list is just one little tiny piece of the whole scanning picture puzzle. So if you've watched any of my other scanning workshops, this is just going to give you a little bit of the next level up as far as just moving it a little bit more to the advanced side, but not that much, you'll see. So I'm going to show you how to scan chart lists. And then I thought the last time I did scanning, I was going to talk to you about alerts, but I never quite got to it. So I'm going to spend some time on how to set alerts and how I use them and how you might want to use them. So let's go ahead and get started here. So before I really get into it, I do need to preface by saying what is available to each membership level. And I'm not being salesy. I just want you to understand what you can and can't do. So with the basic membership, you only have the one chart list, and you don't get to have custom scans, so that today's information on scanning a chart list really doesn't pertain to you today, but I'm certain that when you watch it, maybe you want to move to the next level where you can start getting some technical alerts. And of course, your scanning ability increases, as well as your chart list creation and the amount you can have increases by quite a bit just by moving up to that one level. Highly recommend if you want to do some of the stuff I'm showing you today. I think you might want to. And then, of course, if you get to the pro level, then you have even more. But I think even with the extra membership, you can still do. There's a lot that you can do with this, and so that's what I'm going to show you today. All right, so the predefined scans come with your basic membership, and you can get to them from the member homepage, and we're going to run a predefined scan. I'll show you how I save my results like I always do with that scan dump. And then we're going to look at creating our own scan. And again, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this part today because I have done that in the past. If you go to YouTube, I suspect you can look it up. You probably can find it on the StockCharts YouTube channel if you go and look in there. So I recommend you go check that out if you want a little bit more detailed information on how to create a scan. And then I'm going to show you how to create what I call a hybrid scan, which takes a predefined scan and you just sort of add your own stuff to it. And that really plays well into what we're going to do today as far as scanning a chart list, because you can take that predefined scan and then set it up to scan on your chart list, and that's a hybrid scan, and I'll show you that as well. And then we're going to show you how to scan that chart list using the current scans that you have, the ones we just created, and then how you can scan that chart list with the predefined scan. Like I said, that's going to be more of in that hybrid section. And then we're going to go into the alerts, like I said, price alerts, advanced alerts, etc. So now that I've just like thrown it all at you and you remembered everything, right, that I'm going to go over, let's go hit it. So I'm going to go ahead and start us on. Let's get in here. There it is. Okay. All right, so we will start from the handy dandy member homepage. Okay, so let's move on down here. Here are your chart lists if you have it set up like this on your homepage, like I do. And here are where you have your scans, and here are the alerts that you may or may not have running. And as you can see, I have 6 of them right now. We'll talk about those in just a moment. So we're going to start off, like I said, let's start off with those predefined scans because they're out there, they're ready to go. And then I will show you how you can move one of those to scan just a chart list of yours. So I want to make sure that first of all, I have some good chart lists right now. I will probably create some as we go along here, but I want to see how many I have that we can really get some good scans on. Let's see here. Alrighty, my scan dump only has 24 stocks in it. So I'm going to actually run a scan right now that I already have set up, and I'm going to dump it in here so that I have our sample chart list that we're going to scan against. So let's go ahead and do that first. So we will go to one of those predefined scans. I keep moving this all over the place. All right, so which one do we want to pick? I want to pick something with a lot of results. So here's one that has 321 for those highs. Here's some of our bearish ones, 360. I'm going to go right up here just with the new 52-week highs and click on that. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here that you may or may not want, that I know I may or may not want. So while I love this scan and it has all those results, I'm going to want to edit it. I'm going to want to change it. But right now, I'm just going to save it with all of these results in it, just so we have a chart list that's good to scan against. And I'm going to save it in Scan Dump. And as I've talked about in previous scanning workshops, I highly recommend that you set up what I call sort of a transient chart list, one that you dump all your scans in, and then you sort of muddle through that and move the important charts from that scan dump into a chart list that is going to be, that will stay there for you, a permanent chart list. This makes it easy to immediately just throw everything in there, and you don't have to worry because I know I'm not writing over anything that I want, because I know that this list is set up that way that there isn't anything that I want in it because I've already taken it out. All right, so we are replacing that. Let's get that moving. There we go. Yes, so now we have how many? 322. Okay, so that's going to be too many that we're not, and we don't want all of them. We already determined that. All right, so we used a predefined scan and we got this chart list, right? So it has all of the stocks right now that are hitting new 52-week highs. So this should have a good amount of stocks that we might want to be interested in. So let's go ahead, and I have my list now, my chart list, and now I want to scan against just that chart list. I don't want to do a scan that's going to take give me everything from everywhere. I just want to look at what's in that chart list. And as an example, the ones that I have, the alerts that I have are all set up on one particular chart list, and it's my DP market sector summary chart list. So all of my alerts go up against this particular chart list. So this is how I find out whether I have a short-term trend model, intermediate-term trend model, a long-term trend model, buy signal, sell signal, neutral. If any of those come through on any of the sector spiders or their equal weight partners, I get an alert in my email. So I don't want to scan against everything for those trend model signals. I just want to go against the stuff that I need to know I'm getting a change on. So that's one of the reasons I really like the opportunity and the ability to do my scans and my alerts off of one chart list. All right, so let's go ahead and start looking at how to scan against some of these chart lists. So I'm going to just take us to the scanning, the advanced scan workbench. Okay, so it's already setting it up for me to do whatever scan it is that I want. Well, I'm going to take one of my favorites right now, which is the bullish EMAs and a mid-range scooter. It also has a PMO rising. And as you can see, for me, the way to screen out a lot of the information that I want is I usually put this at the top of all of my scans, just so that I get only the US stocks with a somewhat decent amount of average daily volume. I do adjust this one a lot. I'll make it a little higher, usually not lower, usually higher if the results I'm getting, I'm not seeing what I want. And then I like to get those that close higher than $10, just to avoid too much volatility. So I have this scan, and let's say I want to run it just against that scan dump, that chart list that I have. I want to know, of all of those that are making new 52-week highs, how many of them fit within my scan criteria that I like to look at every day. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, I'm going to save this as something different because I don't want to write over it. And so I'm going to just add, let's put example at the beginning of this. There we are. Okay, so now we have a different one. So I just want to scan against my scan dump chart list. So I don't need any of this anymore because I know what's in that chart list already fits. Well, actually it doesn't in this case, but generally will fit this criteria. So I could actually just write over this criteria. Today I'm not gonna, just because I did use that scan dump, and that will pull out those US stocks from that chart list. But we need to first tell it to go to that chart list. So if you come down here, and you have all of these opportunities to add to your scan. One is called chart lists. And so I get to go in here and I can pick whichever one it is I want. I'm going to pick that one that, like I said, we just did. And I'm going to add it here. Well, it always adds everything to the bottom of your scan, but I want to see it at the top. And there's one other thing we're going to have to do here. All right, so I want to scan on this chart list. There's a little X here because you can't have an and starting everything. So that's one problem. And then the other is that I don't have an and here. Well, I know that it's a stock already because it came from that particular chart list. I'm going to leave in the daily volume and country US in there because I happen to know that in that chart list there are some of these that I don't want. But I'm starting off with that chart list. All righty. So let us, since this is an example anyway, I'm going to save this. And let's run it and see what we get. So we had 322 in the scan dump chart list, and I've now made it down to 15. By just putting in the scan on my chart list. And I know Tom probably uses this a lot because of his strong earnings, and I think you even have a weak earnings chart list. I know you would scan against these chart lists so that it pretty much takes you to the stuff you're only interested in. I only want to look at the strong earnings, or I only want to look at those that are, you know, with a PMO rising or a 50-day EMA that's above the 200-day EMA, that sort of thing.
You are correct. I do use both of them. Well, recently I've kind of flushed the weak earnings because that was used more for shorting. And right. I don't think we're in a market to short at this point. So that I don't use anymore. But yes, I do routinely, especially if the market starts to roll over, I do routinely keep two lists, and I do scan against those two lists quite often.
Right. And like I said, I'm going to show you the alerts when I get there, but I do this every day in the background. So now I found those 15 out of the scan dump that I wanted. I can now, if I wish, save them to another list, which I might want to do because remember, these are in my scan dump. These stocks are going away the next time I run a scan. So if I wanted to keep these, then I probably would want to store them in a new chart list or a different chart list. I'm just going to do this one right here, but I'm going to move this to the front. I think that it's easier to go through when I have the date first on them. So there you are. There are the 15 that fit those criteria that I liked. So that's really all that is required to scan against a chart list, is to add it into your scan. And all it is right there. So you just add that at the top of your list. So let's see. Now that I have this and I run it against the list I want, let's say at this point, now I want to set an alert because I want to know anytime when when I get results from this scan on that chart list, I want to be notified. That's what your alert will do for you. And we have simple price alerts, which I'll show you. And then we have the little bit more complicated alerts. And those are the ones that work off of your scans, just like we're showing right now. Okay, so I'm going to move us over right now to the alert section. And you can get to it various ways. I'm going to show you from the home page, the technical alert workbench. All right, so the first one are price alerts. I actually don't have any set right now, but typically I have them set for what's in my portfolio. I erased it because just for privacy, I didn't want you to have everything that I have in my accounts, but you can throw these in here at any one you want. So let's see. So for example, maybe I want to look at, well, let me take a peek here on my other computer, what looks interesting. All right, well, let's pick a favorite. How about GE? And I'm going to have it alert me via the website whenever my alert comes true. So here's your current chart and what's going on with it. And it's at $10.09. So let's say that if it crosses below $10.09, I want to get alerted. All right, so there it is, and I'll save it. There we go. And now I should get alerted when it crosses below $10.09. I'm going to actually add an alert also for it crossing above, just so that we'll see the alert come in while we're doing this. So an alert if it goes above $10.09. I'm going to save that too. There we go. And that'll come in on the website. And here you go. There are our price alerts right there. There's the one crosses above. I guess I need to do the below now. Might not let you do both because, yeah, it knows what I'm trying to do. And it's saying, no, you're going to bog down my system. Okay. Well, if it goes below $10.09, we'll be notified. Let's see. We can add another one in here. Let's try adding, let's see. We can add, Pinterest is kind of a new one. So let's look at pins. You see, it's a new one that's come out. So I'm going to ask, and now it's down almost 7%. So I would like to know when it gets above, well, there's 32.50, it's at 31. Let's say we want to see, well, since the day is going the wrong direction for it, let's go down. We're going to look at not a percentage, are we? Yeah. 2% down. What would that be? 31.24 would be 2% down. I'm going to go ahead and make it even less than that because, again, I'd like the alert to happen hopefully while we're here. So $30, let's say 85 cents. There we go. Okay. So that's running in the background. The one that I want to talk to you about next, we're going to look at the advanced alerts. So we just set a simple price alert, a couple of them. And we'll wait and see if those go through. Now the email, the other one was an email, and I didn't want that. I want that to be on the website too. We'll just save that. There we go. Okay, so that's going on. Advanced alerts. Now advanced alerts are sort of the same idea, only what we're doing is we're taking a scan and making it become an alert. For example, here are the ones that I run every day. So let's look at a simple one, long-term PMO crossovers. Oh, that's on that other one, that's fine. Okay. Notice the first line. It's scanning off of my favorites list. And the other is all I want is to see if the PMO, the monthly PMO, crosses above its signal line. Or I want it to be the exact opposite if it crosses, basically a crossover. That's what I'm looking for, positive or negative. So that is what that alert does. And when it comes in, I have it run only at market close. And I only need them to tell me if I have something more than 0. And I do want it to be on email, and I want it to always run. So what you can do is once it's run, it'll pause it, or you can have it delete, however you want to work that. But I keep mine on a continuation. So there is an easy way to do this, because it's obviously these are all the same. It's just like the scanning workbench. So if you have a scan you like and you want it to run as an alert, the easiest way to do this, and honestly, the idea really can come from what I've seen Julius do, is you make a second browser window. Let's see if I can make it get smaller. And we're just going to shrink it. Come on now. All right, I think we're getting it smaller here, right? My screen is at a different setting. I'm going to actually, if I get rid of that, I think we'll be okay. Or not. Forgive me. I'm trying to get this set up so that they're next to each other, and my screen doesn't want to cooperate here. All right, here we go, right? Well, this is pretty annoying. Let's see if I can do it over. Here we go. I can do it off screen. Here we are. All right, so there's that one. And we're going to go to the advanced scan workbench that we were on. So this is the scanning one. Let me go and shrink this one for us. So basically, you're just taking 2 browser windows and sitting them up next to each other. And again, this is exactly what Julius does when he does his RRG. He likes to be able to look at the chart and then the RRG on the other side. So here's my scanning workbench. And here's my alert workbench. And all you have to do is pick that scan that you want. So let's go my favorite scans. Well, where are my scans? Oh, I think I'm in the wrong. Oh, that's because I'm in Market Watchers. I don't have any on that one. Okay. Well, let's come back over here. There we go. And we will do here. And now I will have what I need. There we go. Okay, so here are all my scans. Over here are my alerts. All right, so we're going to create an alert off of the scan that I like right now, this bullish scan. I did post this in a Market Watchers live recap somewhere. I can't tell you which date, I just don't remember, but if you want the actual scan, that's where you get it. So here I have that scan, and now I want to create an alert. So I'm going to say, okay, I want a new alert. I'm going to have it run all day long. No, I'm going to have it just run at the market close. And if I get a results greater than 0, go ahead and tell me via email and automatically pause it after it's run. So I don't want this to run continuously. I just want it to tell me at the end of the day via email if any of my results come through on this particular scan. Okay, so actually I'm going to go ahead, we'll take this. So I'm copying it all. And I'm just taking it over to the alert workbench and putting it in here. So now the alert is going to run using that scan that I had. Now, if I wanted to do it on a particular chart list, I can come down here, chart list. Let's run that scan on scan dump. And where it is, right there. But I like to bring it to the front so I know what it's doing. Just going to cut that. And then we'll move. I don't need any of this information because I'm just going off of this particular list. Got to get that and out of the front though. Save. And we'll just call this, well, example. And there we go. And now I have that as an alert. So the trick is if you take the scan that you want to be an alert, I would set up the two windows, and that way you can just copy and paste, and then you're able to compare it. It makes it a lot easier. All right. So that pretty much covers the scanning and the how to do alerts. Let me go ahead, and I'm going to get you a summary slide here, but I hope this helped everybody understand them a little bit. The scans and the technical alerts are really the same, believe it or not, except one is a notification. So I think that it's a pretty good setup to do the two next to each other. And I came up with the idea on my own before I saw Julius do what he did, mainly because I realized all I need is to copy and paste, but I don't want to have to keep going back and forth and not understand what I'm actually doing in the middle, because I don't know about you, but many times I lose what's going on from the point of one screen to going to the next. I actually will forget sometimes what I'm doing. So it's helpful to have the two side by side. All right, so what did we do today? I showed you how to set up scans. We scanned according to a chart list. Really, all that is, scanning on a chart list, is adding that piece of code to the top of your scan. That is all that you really need to do. Price alerts, I showed you how to set those very quickly. The scan alerts, again, same thing. It's just you move your scan as a technical alert, and now you can get that in email every day. And use those notifications for those alerts. So that's all I had as far as our presentation today as the workshop concludes. But now I think it would be interesting to look at that poll that we have been running to see how many of you actually use alerts or even know that we have technical alerts out there. So here we go. Yes, I had a feeling that we would get that would be the winner. What is an alert? Because we don't really talk about alerts. We talk more about scanning. And so it's not a surprise to see that happen, at least in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I couldn't answer the question.
Oh, was I too confusing?
Well, no. I know what a technical alert is, but I don't have any. So I couldn't fill it out. I just didn't have any. And for me, the reason I'm very active in the market. I'm always watching the market. I'm looking at my stocks periodically throughout the day. But it would still help me to use the technical alert. There's no doubt about it, because there have been times when I should have either been out of a stock or maybe into a stock, and I just didn't catch it. Especially if you use a chart list like I do that has 200, 300 stocks on it. You can think you're watching them pretty closely, but when you get into intraday action and you think you're looking at a stock, you say, well, it's still got 3% to go before it hits support, so I'll just make a note of it. Well, sometimes in the morning when you get the big moves down, you can get that trigger of hitting a key support level and not really realize it, because you might look at the market and say, well, it's flat. Probably I haven't lost 3% on that stock, when in fact sometimes these individual stocks are pretty volatile. So if you haven't used technical alerts, I would certainly recommend that you do use them. I think it would help. And if I wasn't looking at the market all day, if I was working regularly during the day, another job, and didn't have time to follow my stocks, I would absolutely set technical alerts up so I could at least have StockCharts looking at it for me while I was working.
Yes, exactly. And like for me, having those alerts at the end of the day to tell me if any of the sector spiders or those equal weight, ETFs, or just the major markets, the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100, I get that immediate alert at the end of the day. If any of them have had crossovers of a PMO, a 5, 20, 50, or 200-day EMA crossovers, I just get that in my email at the end of the day, and I know everything I need to know as far as getting ready to do my analysis or my blogs. And it also initiates blog articles at times for me, because I'll find that an alert comes through. And even though maybe I didn't see anything in particular I wanted to write about in the market, I have signals that have arrived in my email box at the end of the market day.